wanted to give you a side-by-side comparison of the three most popular power stations on the market. These are each 1,000-watt power stations. This is the Jackery 1000. This is the EcoFlow 1000. This is the Anker Solex 1000. So each of these have different benefits, different things that are good and bad about each of them. And I want to show you some of the things that you may want to look at. I want to show you some of the things that I feel like are most important to look at from each of these batteries to kind of help you decide which one is best for you. Because in some of them, you're actually going to kind of start the ecosystem of the EcoFlow. You're going to have the ecosystem for the Jackery. You're going to have the ecosystem for the Anker. And in some of these options, you can then expand the storage facility and make it a little bit bigger. Let's first just talk about the ports. Depending on what you're going to use these battery stations for, you may need more of the ports or you may not need some of the ports. So I want to show you what they include. So first off, with the Jackery, we have 3 of the AC plugs like you normally get on the wall. Then on this side, you have your wall charger. This is where you're going to plug in your wall adapter. And then this one is where you're going to plug in the solar panels. Then you have 3 USB plugs. You have 2 USB-Cs and 1 USB-A. You have the DC car charger plug there. When you're looking at the EcoFlow, you've got 4 USB-C-As, 2 USB-Cs, and then on the back, you've got 2 higher wattage fast charging surge outlets here. And then you have 4 additional plugs just for the 2-prong plugs. Then you have a seal here, which is really, really nice. You actually have a closed plug where you didn't have a closed plug on the Jackery. And then if we go up here, we have the wall charger. That's the one we're going to plug into the wall. You've got a surge protector, which you don't have on the Jackery. And then you have the solar input. So a lot more plugs. If you're going to charge a bunch of smaller things, like you're going to be on a photo shoot and you're going to charge up a ton of smaller things, you might need something more like the Anker or the EcoFlow, because it just has more plugs. So if we go over to the Anker, over here, we've got 6 plugs across the top. 1 that's a surge that gives you more power from that plug. And then you got 2 USB-C and 2 USB-A plugs. And then on the side, you also have your charging adapter, you have your surge protector. Again, that's not on the Jackery, but it is on the EcoFlow and the Anker. One difference here that we want to look at here with the type of solar plugs that you're going to use, if you have like a standard solar panel that you don't necessarily want to buy this specific brand's solar panel, maybe you found a better deal or you just want to do like a generic solar panel that might be bigger and not one of the portable kind. The Jackery has its own proprietary plug here for the solar panels. It's this kind of circular plug, whereas the Anker and the EcoFlow both have the more standard solar plug, and that one is right here. Got that solar plug there, and then on the EcoFlow, it's right there. So again, if you're looking for something that's a little bit more customizable, the Anker and the Solex might be a better choice for that. Another category that I think the Anker and the EcoFlow beat out the Jackery is in the expandability. So the Jackery has no other ports on here that you can use to expand the system. For example, you may want to, or you may get maybe the 2,000 watt. And then if this did have an expandability function, you could then add the 2,000 watt onto this 100 watt, and then you could have a 3 kilowatt system here. And maybe you can continue to expand that. That's not an option here with the Jackery. Where it is an option for the Anker and for the EcoFlow. So this is the expansion port here. There's an additional plug that you get. That plugs in here. You stack another one on the top, plug it in there, and now it's a 2 to 6 kilowatt hour or 2 to 6 kilowatt hour battery capacity. So you can just stack 2 of them, 2 1,000 watts, and that's going to be a 2 kilowatt battery storage system. And you can go all the way up to a 6 kilowatt system, which is more realistic on the home backup side, which is really, really cool. Because if you started out on the EcoFlow ecosystem, if you will, and then you just wanted to continue to expand and have something that's in the same ecosystem and not have to buy a totally separate battery, since you already have 1,000 watts here, you could add their 2,000 watt, or you could add their 4,000 watt, and you can expand whatever system you have with EcoFlow because of this port. And you have the same option with the Anker. So with Anker, you get this big plug here. This is the plug that you get for the expansion. You have the plug that pops in there. You then plug that into any of the other Anker solutions. And I believe this one can go up to an 8 kilowatt battery capacity. So when you're looking at this as like a long-term solution for your energy needs, these two I feel like are a better bet, because if you did want to add more onto it later, you have that ability. Where with this one, you just don't. With the Jackery, you just don't have that option to add onto it. And so it's kind of like a standalone. It's only really better for camping, things like that. But these ones can actually expand, and you can use them more like a home backup solution. Another really important feature that I want to see in all of these batteries is going to be the pass-through mode, where you can be charging them up with solar panels while at the same time you can be using these batteries. That's going to be huge on a backup situation, because if you can be charging them up with the power from the sun outside while you're using them, that's going to allow you to use them for a lot longer and have a lot more use cases for these. And they all do support pass-through, which I was really excited to see. As far as warranty goes, you have a little bit of an interesting case again where the Jackery just doesn't do what I want it to do. You got a 3-year warranty here versus a 5-year warranty for the Anker and the EcoFlow. So again, the Jackery just 3-year warranty versus 5-year warranty versus all the other things the Jackery doesn't do as well. It's really interesting why Jackery is selling so much. Both the Anker and the EcoFlow are good for 3,000 charge cycles, which is pretty standard and should last you over 10 years. Now, the Jackery says it has a little bit longer. It has 4,000 charge cycles and significantly longer than 10 years, which is really good. It's one of those categories where the Jackery does win, has a larger capacity or a longer capacity. It's actually one of the categories that Jackery does win out on. It wins out on the longevity of it. At least that's what they're claiming. They have the 4,000 charge cycles that this one can handle before it dips below the 70% threshold. This is, disclaimer, this is not a paid review. I bought all of these batteries for testing for this purpose. I have not been paid by any of these companies or even sent these products at all. I paid for them. I bought them all my own. Didn't buy them on Black Friday though. This is where you really see, this is one of the big differences between the Jackery and then these two. So now I kind of just want to give you my ranking of the 3 different batteries. Last place and third place is going to be the Jackery. Just didn't have the features that I wanted it to have that these two had. And the biggest thing for me was probably the expandability that this one didn't have, and then the weird output that only has 1,500 watts at normal and then 3,000 watts peak, and then also the plugs. So there's a couple things the Jackery doesn't have that these two do excel on. Then I'm gonna have to put the EcoFlow in second place, and this is a lot closer of a competition because they all have a similar amount of ports. They have the expandability. This one was a lot tighter race between these two. But I am gonna go with the Anker. These two are a lot of a closer race, but I'm gonna go with the Anker as the top battery because it has a higher output, has a higher total peak output, which is really, really nice. It has a higher expandability, can be expanded to a larger system than the Anker, than the EcoFlow. So EcoFlow comes in close second. I think both of them would be a good starter battery for you to kind of get into the market, for you to expand from these systems and use their ecosystem. I think either of them would be a really good option. I just think the Anker, I don't know, maybe they don't do as much marketing, but they seem to be bought less than the Jackery and the EcoFlow, but I feel like from my testing that they are a superior product. All of them are good batteries, and I think they're good for different reasons, and I'd be happy with either of these two. I'd be a little bit left wanting with the Jackery.